We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth. And we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
You're listening to Right Side Patriots on a Saturday on CPR Worldwide Media.
We, the people.
And good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot, Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. Together, we are the Right Side Patriots. Glad you're with us today, Diane. How's everything?
Hanging in there. Well, as good as can be expected, because only the women would understand this.
What?
But the spousal unit is a bit under the weather, and it's like having a third child, but worse.
Yeah, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, you people
get sick, we carry on, and we don't complain.
Yeah, you
and we
carry
do what
on
we
all
need
right.
to do.
You carry on all right. There's no doubt about that. I mean, look, when I get sick, I just do what I do normally. I don't lay down. I don't, take a load off. I just do what I do. I just power through it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Gee, I wonder what would happen if we asked Susan.
She'd tell you. She would tell you. She would tell you that I just keep going. I'm like the Energizer Bunny, with a runny nose, but I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I just got snot.
We don't need the graphic descriptions here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you asked, but I mean, look, I all these women, every time the husband gets sick, oh God, it's like having another child.
Yeah, but it's the worst of all possible children.
Maybe he's got the Ebola.
Oh, the wild Ebola might have gotten him. It is possible.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, they've been spotted. We haven't seen them since November 4th, but they've been spotted.
That's true, and he is, as most people know, he is in the hospital all day, so, you never know.
See, and Yeah, he goes to the hospital and he gets sick. What are the chances? Those places are full of sick people.
But isn't it amazing that the wife never gets anything?
Yeah, well, no self-respecting germ would go near you.
It knows better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why put up with that?
Oh, well.
Folks, we got a big show planned for you today. It seems like just a couple of days ago it was 2014, and now it's not.
Yeah, isn't that amazing what one day will do?
You notice that?
Yeah.
Here we are in 2015. It's the first time I've actually said it out loud.
But you know what's bad, Craig?
What?
My prediction came true. I woke up a year later and Obama is still president.
I know.
God, I must have ESP.
Instead of making predictions, you should have done like a resolution that he would be gone.
Ah, that would have been better. Hey,
Well,
he can be gone on November 6th that afternoon if Congress grows a set.
Well, and what are the chances?
I know, slim and none, right?
Exactly. Good grief. Well, look, we've got a big show planned today. We've got a lot to talk about. The NAACP, they're going to be honoring somebody. We're not going to let you in on it right now, but they are going to be honoring somebody well worthy of honor.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about some other bad role models other than the one they're going to honor. We've got a brief look at the House Oversight Committee's report on DHS, the Department of Homeland Insecurity.
Yeah, and it's not a pretty picture, guys. It's a lot more than just the tax scandal. Right now would probably be a good time to say hello and Happy New Year to the alphabets that are listening in, because we're going to attack one of you. Yeah. Hi, guys. Let's start the new year off right. We know you're listening.
Yep, the DHS, not such a rosy picture over there at DHS, which means not such a rosy picture for any of us who happen to live in this country. Diane's got a great article out about the police situation. I've got 2 parts of a 3-part series that have been published now, so we're going to be talking about all of that. And Diane, we've got requests to replay the tribute to police we did at the end of Wednesday's show. So we're gonna do that again at the end of today's show.
Yeah, and that's very apropos because this weekend Officer Wen Jin Liu is going to be laid to rest. So this is also a special tribute for him.
So lots to do. What do you say we wake up our moderate Muslim intern, Mohammed Hussein Obama?
Do we have to?
Well, if we want quick hitters.
Yeah, that's true. We won't get him without that intercontinental ballistic camel now, will we?
No, he is the keeper of the quick hitters. So, hey, Mohammed, wake up. You there? Okay. Did you put together any quick hitters that you can load on the intercontinental ballistic camel and send over to me and Diane? Well, what are you waiting for? Send them over.
I got mine.
There we go.
Ah, he sent them to me first, and I thought they didn't like women.
Well, he's afraid you might have a cold, and he doesn't want to.
No,
doesn't want to run the risk. Yeah, I know, but he's thinking you might get it, and he doesn't want to run the risk. He says you're surly enough as it is, right, Mohammed?
Oh.
Yep. Okay.
We love you too, Mohammed. When pigs fly.
Yeah, exactly. Mohammed, you ever seen a flying pig? Says they scare him. Oh. Well, let's see what we've got here today for quick hitters. Well, look, Sarah Palin is back in the news, and again, it's because liberals have found something just absolutely horrible, something absolutely atrocious to pick on her about.
Yes, it seems her 6-year-old son, Treg, the little boy with Down syndrome, was standing on their Labrador Retriever in order to reach some dishes in the sink. And the far left, the loons, they were all going nutso over it. Well, let me tell you something. Having a dog when my kids were little, The dogs loved when the kids stood on them. It didn't bother them in the least. If it bothered them, they'd get up and the kid would go flying on their butt.
Dogs are really funny that way. If you're doing something that a dog doesn't like, they'll let you know instantly. And what this is all about, there's a photo of Trig, and Trig's short. I mean, for goodness sakes, he's only 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And he's short, and he can't reach into the sink if he's standing on the floor. Well, the dog just happened to be laying right under the sink, so Trig, being the enterprising young man that he is, thought, well, there's a furry stepping stool, and stood on the dog, reached into the sink. Somebody took a picture and posted it because it is a cute picture.
Yes,
and
it is.
The dog is just sitting there like la-di-da, another day at the Palins.
Yeah, this little boy, he's as light as a feather. The dog is probably double his weight.
Probably.
And listen what some liberal loon said, and this is a quote. Yes, the dog could have moved, but the greater lesson is he's going to get bit and hurt, and the dog will get blamed instead of the child that is abusing the dog. Should a child ever be allowed to step on any animal? Ugh. And this was posted by someone named Amy Payzant Stewart. Now, come on, people. Dogs love any kind of physical attention. If it hurts them, they're going to let you know.
Can I just directly address Amy Payzant Stewart for a moment?
Sure.
Amy, shut the hell up.
Good one.
It's not your dog. It's not your child. Look, the dog is going to let the child know. If the dog doesn't want to be stepped on, the dog will simply walk away. It'll just get up and move.
Exactly. And the little boy is so light, the dog could easily have gotten out from under him. And the little boy would have been the one ending up on his butt. I mean, this is, this is ridiculous. Sarah is a great woman, but the left always has to find something, anything, to tear her or her family apart with. And it's getting tiring.
And let me, by the way, address Sarah Palin, because, we're pretty sure she's probably listening. Sarah, Trig is going to grow. He's going to get bigger. You should consider looking into getting a Mastiff.
Yeah.
Because when Trig gets bigger, he's going to need a bigger dog to stand on.
Yeah. I mean, come on, folks. It's one thing to criticize someone on their politics or their policies, but to go after a little 6-year-old boy, come on, that's low. That's
that is
really low.
Can you see Sarah Palin with a Mastiff? That dog would be bigger than she is.
Exactly. And a lab is not any toy poodle. I mean, we are talking labs are a damn good size. This dog was not hurt by that little boy.
No. And quit being worried about the dog biting the child. The dog, when dogs are in the house and a child is introduced and they grow up together, the dog and the child have an inseparable bond. And trust me, that dog digs Trig, and that dog is not going to do anything to hurt that little boy.
Not at all. And, guys, on the left, go find somebody else to pick on. Somebody, maybe your own president and his rotten politics and policies.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Look at this, Diane. The NYPD might be refusing to work. They might have the blue flu.
Wouldn't that be nice? I can't think of a mayor that it's more apropos for.
Well, and that's what they're doing. They're suggesting that in order to protest de Blasio, the socialist communist punk that is the mayor of New York City, that some of the police are saying, you know what, we're not going to work for that guy.
Yes, in fact, in New York City, arrests are down 66%.
66% is huge, especially when you're talking about a place like New York City, which has a crime rate, and this is something that past mayors like Rudy Giuliani had managed to really, really clamped down on was the crime rate. And look, if you're not going to arrest the thugs and the people that break the law, you're going to have a lawless city pretty quick.
Yes, yes. And, the blue flu has been done in the past. This is not anything new.
No.
And they have every right to do it. I mean, the police officers are out there every day putting their lives on the line, much like our troops do, but here it's urban as opposed to overseas. But they're still putting their lives on the line for us. When they go out in the morning with that badge on, their families don't know if they're going to come home. And then when you have a mayor that defames them, that slanders them, that does everything to make them out to be something they're not. I mean, this mayor is making them out to be as bad as the Nazi Gestapo.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
The mayor should have the backs of the police department. He should have their back.
Yes. And a lot of this boils down to a statement that he made after the Michael Brown, and he reiterated it after the Eric Gardner case. He's married to a black woman, and they have a biracial son, obviously, and he is teaching, and he has admitted this, his biracial son to be careful around police simply because of his race. Now, can you imagine that?
Well, you got to teach.
Do you know
that hate
hatred involved in something like that?
You got to teach hatred, otherwise these kids will never learn it.
Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Here it is. You have a mayor of one of the leading metropolises of our country teaching their son to hate the police force that he runs, that he's over. There is just something terribly wrong here, folks.
So some of the cops are saying, you know what? We're going to develop a case of selective blue flu, and we'll see how your little city runs without us out there on patrol. And maybe it'll get de Blasio's attention and he'll shut up, but I doubt it.
Well, Craig, he already hasn't shut up. This has been going on for months now, this confrontation between him and the police, even before the Brown shooting. This week, he went on ABC News this week, meaning, I guess at the beginning of the week, I don't watch ABC, but I think it's the Sunday circuits, and said, quote, "What parents have done for decades who have children of color, especially young men of color, is train them to be very careful when they have a connection with a police officer. When they have an encounter with a police officer, it's different for a white child. That's just reality in this country. You stupid SOB.
You know what?
You didn't learn. You go on again and say this nonsense? How about that most major violent crime is committed by the very people you are defending? That's statistics. That's provable.
You know what every parent should do, regardless of color, is tell their children, if the police tell you to stop, stop. If the police tell you to put your hands in the air, put your hands in the air. If the police tell you to get on the ground, get on the ground. If the police are wrong, we'll deal with it later through legal channels.
Yes.
But don't defy the police.
Yes. What he's trying to do is racial profile in reverse.
Yeah.
And what he doesn't understand is you have to look at the statistics. You have to look at the logistics of where these types of crimes that are major crimes happen. Most of them are in the major cities, in the ghetto or low-income areas. The police have a very dangerous situation just by going in there. And what de Blasio also forgets is New York City Police Department is one of the most racially diverse police departments in the country.
Well, he might recognize that fact if they actually faced him during one of these funerals. But, when cops turn their back on you, they all pretty much look alike.
Yes, and I'm hoping, I know that certain hierarchy in the police department has asked them not to do that during Wen Jianlu's funeral. However, I hope they do. It is a silent protest. It hurts no one. but it sends a very powerful message. We're
Well,
not taking it.
And what message does it send to Lou's family if you do it for Ramos and you don't do it for Lou?
Exactly. Exactly. They need to do it for him, and I hope they do it even stronger, that more officers show up at this funeral. I mean, they had 30,000 strong at Ramos's funeral. I hope they have at least as many, and they do the exact same thing. This man not only deserves to have his back being turned on, but he also needs to go. He needs to resign. He is incompetent, incapable, and a disgrace to the office of the mayor of New York City.
Of course, if they face him, they can always spit at him.
True, but then they'll get arrested for assault with spit.
Yeah. Better to turn your back and be done with it. That's what I say.
Yes, I agree.
All right, let's see
what a way
what
to
else
start the year, right, Craig?
Well, here's another great way to start the year. Obama is regulation happy. Okay, the number of regulations against businesses. I mean, this is a business killer. This is a jobs killer. It's all these regulations. Of course, a lot of them are coming from the EPA, which, in my opinion, needs to be shut down because they're out of control. But in 2014, folks, there were 2,375 regulations that are still, to this day, under consideration, not to count the 3,541 that were put into operation last year, and Obama's got even more coming up for this year.
Oh, God, just what we need. You know, these regulations are actually driving mom and pop businesses out of business. The backbone of the American economy is being destroyed by regulations. This doesn't just affect big businesses. This filters down to the mom and pops.
Well, yeah, because for every business that has more than 100 employees, there are over 100 businesses with less than 100. So when you put these regulations on, some of the big businesses, they can deal with it, okay? But
Yes.
whatever it is, whatever good or service that is being provided, the cost of it is going to go up if they have to deal with these regulations.
Right. I mean, his number of regulations alone is unprecedented. We don't need this type of control. We need to cut these regulations. Let businesses operate how they can be successful. If they can be successful, if they can turn a profit, that puts more people back to work. But then again, Obama doesn't want to put people back to work because then it takes them off the government rolls and they might change their loyalty from the Democratic Party.
Well, but I'll tell you what, he's going so far with this stuff, Diane, that he's pissing off his own base, his own liberal base. I mean, just last week, a major coal mine closed and it employed 600 people.
Yes.
And so there's 600 people that are out of a job because of Obama and his stupid regulations. And this kind of thing is going to be happening. You're going to find businesses, even the big ones, that they're going to finally say enough is enough. And they're going to go find someplace else to do business. Maybe they'll move to Mexico. Maybe they'll move to Canada. Maybe they'll move to China. Some other country in the world, because in those countries they don't have to deal with this crap, and their corporate taxes are lower.
True. Well, here's one example. Obama had originally pulled the EPA proposed ozone limits because they got intense pressure from industry that, contributes to the ozone, whatever. But public health groups sued, and a federal court ordered the EPA to issue a new draft smog rule by last month, and the agency did. But here's the caveat to that. The rules are estimated to cost the industry, especially the coal industry gets affected big time by this, anywhere between $3.9 billion and $15 billion by 2025, just to put these stupid rules in place.
Now, here's what happens, folks, and let's use the coal industry as an example. if they put these regulations in place, the cost of the coal that they produce is going to be so high that nobody's going to be able to afford to buy it. So the industry, the coal miners, they have a couple of choices. They can either jack up the rates for the coal that they produce from these mines and hope, beyond hope, that somebody might buy it, or they can just shut down.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Another set that he's doing is the net neutrality rules. And last year, he urged the FCC to start regulating the internet like it regulates other utilities. Yeah, that goes over real well.
The internet is not a utility.
And they're calling for an explicit ban on deals between broadband internet providers and online services like Netflix, Amazon, or YouTube. They want to move their content faster, as a potential new source of revenue for cable companies. But here comes Obama putting pressure on FCC commissioners to regulate them even more. And guys, this is going to affect all of us.
I'm telling you, I mean, these regulations are overburdensome. And again, this is part of what, because he knows that liberals are not going to win the White House in 2016 and probably not get the Senate back or the House. So this is part of that scorched earth policy again. He's going to leave things in such a mess that it's going to take a full 4 years just to dig out from under it. So,
yeah, as I like to call it, imploding our country from within.
Exactly. Now, while he's doing all this, folks, here's the last quick hitter of the day. The Obama, that's plural for more than one idiot.
Me up.
Yep, the Obama, plural for more than one idiot, have wrapped up their latest multi-million-dollar taxpayer-funded vacation in Hawaii by eating at a restaurant, Diane, that has a membership fee. Now, there are some fancy restaurants around that, if you want to eat there, you got to pay the fee. You got to pay the membership fee, otherwise you can't get in. The membership fee on this place in Honolulu is $500,000.
Yes. And the dinner that he had, are you ready for this? $1,000.
Now, there's 4 Obama.
Yes.
So
they bred and multiplied.
I know. I'm telling you right now, that is a mental image I don't need.
No.
Okay. Basically, because we don't know which one's pitching and which one's catching. But anyway, $250 per person for dinner. Now, aren't these the very people who say they are in touch with the common folk?
Yes, I don't know any common folk. I know dinner for $1,000. I don't even think a lot of rich people do that. You're talking about a slab of meat, a potato, and a vegetable. I mean, $1,000, please.
And do we even know what they ate? Because you know how Moo is.
Oh, yes. The woman that has our school children eating cardboard, eats these delicacies that just ridiculous. Somewhere I did have the list of what they ate. It's very exotic stuff, guys, but when it boils down to it, it's meat, potatoes, and vegetables.
See, that's why I don't eat at places like that. First of all, I'm not going to pay the $500,000 just to be a member. Then I'm not going to pay $250 a plate for dinner. When I can go, down to the local diner and go in there and get 2 meals for about $25.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you can go into a fine restaurant, a normal fine restaurant. If you want to spend more and go a little upper end in the food, it might cost you $200 for your family. But this $1,000, this is so ridiculous. And I'd like to know, did he pay the $500,000 to join? Was he an invited guest? Or did he just barge in, hey, I'm Obama, I'm here, feed me?
No, that would be the Moo. Feed me. Are you saying that my local diner is not a fine, fancy restaurant? They do vacuum the floor 3 times a week.
No, I wasn't talking about you. I eat at local diners too. That was a generalized statement.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Because I like my local places here. I do.
I love mine. We have a little local place here I'll give them a plug, Bogart's, right here in my town. And they have a great lunch special. You get a bowl of soup of your choice. You get either a half a sandwich with a side of your choice or a side salad with another side of your choice and a drink. And it's $8.99.
See, the place I go is better than that.
Okay.
It's called Neon, and at Neon, they'll give you the entire sandwich.
Yes, but here you get the bowl of soup with it.
Oh, well.
And their half a sandwiches are stuffed huge.
But you've never had the sautéed mushrooms at Neon, let me tell you. Folks, we've got a lot to do today. When we come back from this break, we're going to be talking about the NAA colored people. And they are giving out an award to somebody. You're not going to believe this, folks. You're not. Well, maybe you will because of who they are. But when we get back, that's what we're going to be talking about. We've got the House Oversight Report on DHS coming up and some articles that both Diane and I have written. So hang on, folks. We'll be back after this.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
Why do cities shine so bright? It's the glow of opportunities, of ideas bouncing off one another, of countless people, every one of us, striving to succeed. Right now, in cities everywhere, ideas are being born. New thinking that will put us in awe of what people are capable of. That's what lights cities up. And helping people and their ideas to burn even brighter, so that communities, businesses, and you and I can grow. What if a bank made that its job? For more than 200 years, Citi's job has been to help empower people and business. Now, around the world, it's wherever people gather, wherever ideas come alive. It's wherever you are. The world's city.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hello, this is the IIAP, the Illegal Immigration Assistance Program, a taxpayer-funded division of Oaknut. For Spanish, press 1, Portuguese 2, Arabic 3, Farsi 4, French 5, Swahili 6, German 7, Italian 8, and if you insist on English, please stand by. If you're thinking about illegal immigration, be careful when you're choosing the nation, because breaking the law in some countries is frowned upon. Imagine that. Sneak into China, they'll call you a spy and ship you to Mongolia till you die. And in the Sudan, they'll hang you and the camel you rode in on. Yeah, and don't go hiking and enter Iran, or you might never be heard from again. And in Mexico, you might face a firing squad. Yeah, and forget all about going to North Korea. That's a great example of a bad idea. So when it comes down to it, there's only one option you got. Yeah, come to the USA. There's no penalty to pay should you get caught illegally immigrating.
Yes, it will be your lucky day, cause when you get in, there's lots of goodies waiting. Like healthcare, welfare, free education, help with your voter registration and driver's license and credit cards and license plates for your car. Lots of jobs for you to do and employers who'll turn a blind eye to. Come to the USA. No need to worry about the Constitution. We'll help you start a house of prostitution if that's the kind of work that you want to do. You see, those gringo infidels are crazy. They'll give citizenship to your new baby. So you see, there's really only one choice for you. Come to the USA. There's no penalty to pay should you get caught illegally immigrating. I said come to the USA. It will be your lucky day, cause when you get in, there's lots of goodies waiting. Yeah, you get public housing and cable TV and food stamps and even government cheese. The borders are a swinging door. Go home for a visit and come back for more. There's sanctuary and amnesty. Bring the whole family eventually. Yeah, come to the USA.
This has been a public service message sponsored by Oaknut, dedicated to the collapse of the American way of life. Yes.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. I think Diane Sorey.
I'm here. I just had to break up the great cat wars.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're at it again.
Oh, man. Well, maybe we can get John Kerry to negotiate peace.
Well, oh, please. No, what I need in here is the cat whisperer, like ASAP.
Really? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, a little Ray Stevens music for everybody this afternoon. Come to the USA, the illegal immigrant song. Love it. Love it. Ray Stevens, there's a guy I'd like to get on the show some Saturday is Ray Stevens. That guy's a hoot.
Yeah, he kind of is.
and he's really quite the patriot.
Yes, he is on our side.
Maybe we could reach out to him. I think he does. I think he's got his own theater down in Branson. Maybe we could reach out to Ray Stevens, see if we can get him on the show someday. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay, let's try.
Well, look, we do play a lot of his stuff, so we're actually paying the man.
True. So, okay.
Well, Diane, look at this. The NAA colored people they're getting ready to hand out some honors. And guess who they're going to honor, folks? Just guess who they're going to honor. Mike Brown's lovely mother.
Yes, the woman that led a mob of 20 to 30 people who viciously beat other people with metal pipes is getting an honor.
Yeah, now, in case you missed that, we talked about it on the show, but it's been a while. So let me bring all of our good listeners up to date here on how this transpired. It seems that her ex-mother-in-law and some of her friends were selling Mike Brown Hands Up, Don't Shoot T-shirts on a street corner. And that's when Leslie McFadden, that's Mike Brown's lovely mother, happened to be driving by with some of her friends, and they saw this going on, and they made a phone call, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose. They attacked McFadden's ex-mother-in-law with pipes, and there were fists flying and hair weaves flying, and yeah, I mean, apparently it was quite the sight. The police got called. They came out there and broke the thing up, but not until people had been hurt and almost $1,000 worth of the merchandise had been stolen.
Yes.
So now Mike Brown's lovely mother is facing criminal charges, aggravated assault, assault with a deadly weapon. I think that's because of the pipe. theft, grand theft, and all of this, and I mean, what do you expect? I mean, Mike Brown apparently came by his thuggish ways genetically.
Absolutely. Well, here, listen to the logic. Okay, John Gaskin III, a local NAACP youth leader and national board director on the NAACP, said this honor is a small token. It's a love token, that's their quote, of their appreciation to let her know that she's loved and that the country civil rights organization is remaining true to the fight for justice for her and her family.
How many times do I have to tell people justice is for the civilized?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Leslie, lovely mother of Mike Brown McFadden, is going to be in court one of these days facing charges of assault and then some over this scuffle, but she'll have her love token from the NAA colored people to show off, I suppose. I mean, what are these people thinking? I mean, how many other times do I have to...
Craig, they might be connected to the Nobel Prize Committee who gave Obama the Nobel Peace Prize before he lifted a finger in office.
Yeah, well, how's that worked out for the Nobel Committee?
Yeah, look, they should hang their heads in shame.
How many other, look, here's the problem, folks. We've got to quit making heroes out of turds.
Yes, and the biggest turd of all, one of them besides Obama, Al Sharpton. Look what Walmart just did. They honored him for his contribution to race relations. But you know what gets me mad, Craig? These people are doing it appeasers because they think if we appease the element behaving badly, they'll leave us alone.
Al Sharpton is to race relations what Tabasco is to hemorrhoids.
What an analogy.
Well, you want them fast or you want them good? I mean,
snark always works.
How can you honor this guy for his contribution to race relations? He hasn't made one yet.
Well, yes, he has. He's helped rip the scab off, once healing race relations. That's been his contribution. I call them the race-baiting, white-hating trio of Obama, Sharpton, and Holder. And for good measure, you can add in Jesse Jackson. But haven't you noticed that Jackson has remained kind of silent lately?
Well, and you know why? Because he got his ass thrown out of Ferguson. I mean, he was there trying to pump money for his own cause, and even the people in Ferguson, even the thugs in Ferguson told him to get out.
Yeah, but Sharpton's trying to do the same thing. Remember, Sharpton, Jackson, Holder, Obama, they're all using the plight of their own people to line their own pockets, in my opinion.
That's because the reason they accept Sharpton is because he's got a conduit directly to the Oval Office and prayer mat.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he probably gets down with the other one and points his butt east, 5 times a day. But this is to the point of being ridiculous, folks. These people, these thugs, and Obama, Holder, and Sharpton, and Jackson, and the like, Farrakhan, Reverend Wright, they're all thugs. They're adult thugs, but they're thugs.
So
they are holding companies hostage. You either recognize us, this, and this, or we're going to cause you trouble.
Who do you suppose is going to give the award to Al Sharpton? Tawana Brawley?
Good one.
I mean,
good one. Yes. Yeah, I think so, right? And it's...
See, this is part of the thug
bad,
culture.
You have white people feeding into it, people like de Blasio.
Well, it's part of the thug culture. And what the thug culture does, I mean, the way it thrives, is that it makes heroes and role models out of people that are anything but either one. If you, in thug culture, if you get arrested, that's a feather in your cap. If you go to prison, you gain street cred for when you get out. If you kill somebody in the thug culture, you're a hero.
Yes.
If you get killed,
You're a martyr.
You're a martyr.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you do in the thug culture. If it's bad, you are exalted for it. You're put on a pedestal by the other thugs. This is what's got to stop.
And let's be, fair here, guys. There are whites in this thug culture.
Sure.
De Blasio is a perfect example of a white thug.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, and that's why I'm just saying, thug culture, it doesn't matter what color the thug is. What matters is the mentality.
Yes, unfortunately, in today's America, most of the thugs happen to be black, but not all.
Well, that's true. But, in the thug culture, the worse you are, the bigger the hero you are.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And what it's doing is tearing the country apart. But that's the whole goal. People need to understand that this thug culture within the black community is very small. 99% of all black people are decent, hardworking, law-abiding, good American citizens. Yet you have that 1% to 2% that is scum, that is the bottom of the barrel. And yet they have the vocal voice. They are screaming loud. They are the ones that are making the news. We need the other 98% or whatever, I'm just using 98%, to stand up and say, hey, you don't speak for us.
And some do. I mean,
yes.
you have some that do, and you have some good, solid citizen black community leaders out there that take a position, but there's not enough of them doing it, and that's what I'm saying. It starts at home.
Yes.
You teach your children, I don't care what color they are, you teach your children to behave themselves, to be civilized, to be productive members of whatever society they might be in. I mean, and when I say put it that way, I mean be productive in school. Be productive after school, before school. Be productive in your whatever faith, whatever place you worship. Be productive there. And then go on to be a productive member of the general society when you grow up. These are the people that don't make the news because they're not doing bad things. They're not doing the wrong things. If you're going to make the news, you got to do something wrong.
Well, you know what the problem is, Craig? You now have generations of thugs raising thugs.
I think we're on the third generation of that, by the way.
Yeah, and that's the problem. The home life of this thug culture is not what you and I would consider home life. The women have many children to get more money to get more welfare money. The brothers and sisters are all from different daddies. It's a whole mindset that is now generational.
Well, here's the other side of the coin too, because those people in the inner cities, and let's just use the black community because this is a prime example of what's going wrong out there. Members of the black community who rise above that thug culture, and most of them do it without really even trying that hard. All you got to do is keep your nose clean. All you got to do is get an education, go out and make something of yourself, and whatever it is you choose to do, you don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or a white collar or a stock trader or business owner. There's plenty of great people from that community who rise above the thug mentality, who go on and become the best at what they do, no matter what they do. If it's a blue-collar job, if it's running their own small company and they build it into something, there's millions upon millions upon millions. The vast majority of them manage to rise above it. But what happens is those few who rise above it and really become famous, those in the thug culture say, well, they're not black enough. Those in the black community who are part of that thug culture, they're not black enough.
Right.
There's something right there. That's an Uncle Tom. That person's just going along to get along with the white man.
Yes. Yeah, they're trying to become white is what they think. They're losing their blackness, and nothing can be further from the truth. You can be proud of who you are, whether you're white, black, yellow, or pink with purple polka dots. But the main thing is you need to be a law law-abiding American citizen. You need to put America before the color of your skin.
Well, and let me tell something to these thugs. As long as I'm addressing people, I addressed that idiot who got upset at Sarah Palin. I addressed Sarah Palin. Let me address some of these thug idiots out there, okay? Making something of yourself is a lot easier than being a thug. Because being a thug, you constantly have to be on the lookout for somebody that's going to try and kill you, or somebody that's going to try and arrest you. Because see, when you're a thug, no matter what you do, you're going to piss off other thugs, and they're going to try and kill you because they don't take getting pissed off very easily. And you've always got to be stealing something. You always got to be looking over your shoulder. You know, do you realize how hard it is to walk around all day with your pants at half-mast?
I mean, that is the stupidest. I mean, come on, guys.
If you pull your pants up.
Do you own a mirror? Do you know how stupid that looks? And I don't want to hear, oh, that's our culture. No, it's not. No, it's not. That is just indecent. It's disgusting. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, if you pull your pants up, you can walk around easier. You can get from classroom to classroom a lot quicker if you pull up your pants. You know, when you're a thug, you've always got to be thinking of the wrong thing to do, so that you go out and do it and impress all your thug friends. Okay, but when you're not a thug, when you're a law-abiding citizen, you just do the right thing. You help other people out when they need it, when you can. You get an education, you study, you learn something. And then you go out in life and you apply what you've learned, and you become a productive member of society. You know, it's a lot easier not to be a thug than it is to be one. But these little thugs, these little punks, they don't get it. And I don't care what color they are, they don't get it. You know, and here we have the NAA colored people handing an award to a woman who is not only a thug herself, but raised one.
Yeah, it's thug raising thug, and it just continues on and on and on. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that needs to be broken. And you know what, guys? This whole thing with Brown's mother and the so-called stepfather, let's make one thing clear. This was not Mike Brown's stepfather. The mother and the so-called stepfather were not married. It was her shack-in, live-in boyfriend.
It's the step shack-in, we'll call that.
Yeah.
The
step shack-in. This week's shack-in du jour. You know, that's all it was.
Well, hey, maybe the NAA colored people will make him the grand marshal at their next parade, and he can stand in the back of a car and yell, "Burn this bitch down!"
That's true. Why this man is not in jail for inciting violence. Remember, the First Amendment, guys, yes, we do have certain freedoms under it, but one of the things we do not have is the ability to incite violence. That is clearly stated. This man incited violence of the worst kind that went on for days, and still he's walking the streets. Why? Because he's black. That kind of stuff has to stop.
Now, is the NAA colored people, are they going to recognize somebody like Tim Scott, who became the first elected black from his state since the end of the Civil War? No. As a matter of fact, when the NAA colored people had their little convention, they made sure not to invite Tim Scott.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's part of the problem too, Diane, is that we've got groups like the NAA colored people who are putting these thugs on the pedestal and saying these are the people that the young people in our community need to look up to. Instead of putting on, giving these awards, look, Tim Scott would have been great for an award. Mia Love would be great for an award.
Alan West.
Alan West would be great for an award.
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain. We got black astronauts. Give one of them an award.
Yes.
Okay, we got
absolutely.
Black business leaders in this country. Mm-hmm. Give those people some awards. Say, look, young folks, if you really apply yourselves, you can do this too. You can go fly in space. You can own a business. You can be a stockbroker. You can be a doctor. Give Ben Carson one of those awards. Not that I'm going to vote for Ben Carson for anything, because I just don't. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Ben
Carson is not a big proponent of the Second Amendment, and he also flip-flops on certain issues. And
Dr. Ben Carson's a nice guy. He's one of the best doctors that you're ever going to find anywhere on this planet. I would go so far as to say that. But I don't think he's qualified to run the country.
Now, one good speech at a prayer breakfast does not a president make. People should have learned by the community organizer. But he would make one great Surgeon General or head of HHS.
Give a guy like that an award if you're the NAA colored people. And tell the youth in the black community, look up to these people. These are the people you want to be. These are the people that you should aspire to be. But don't give an award to this idiot woman who went and beat up a bunch of other people with some of her posse. Don't. What are you doing? What are you thinking? You give an award to a person like that and say, look, young people, you could be just like her. Well, guess what? She ought to be in jail. And you wonder why you got problems?
Yeah.
Don't be blaming Whitey. We're not giving her an award.
I'm sick of, there's a saying, and I believe it was Martin Luther King, if I'm not mistaken, who said it originally. Don't judge somebody by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Yep, that was Martin Luther King Jr.
And that is very wise words, and those words should start resonating within the black community. Okay, white people, we don't judge ourselves by, I'm whiter than you. We don't do that stuff.
Well,
it's time that certain segments within the black population stop doing it too.
If you're going to give Mike Brown's lovely mother something based on her content of character, you just give her a bitch slapping.
Yeah, a flying one. Those are the ultimate bitch slap, folks. They're
flying
bitch slaps. She needs a good one upside her head, and so does her boyfriend du jour. He needs jail. He needs jail.
They both do.
Yes, but everybody's afraid. It's Michael Brown's mother. She's black. We can't do this. It'll start problems. Guess what, folks? They've already started the problems. They're here.
You're creating more of a problem by giving the woman an award than you are by locking her up. And by locking her up, you may send a message to other little thugs in training out there that maybe being a thug isn't such a great idea after all.
Yes. And you know what? If I have one word of advice for those in the thug culture, the easiest way to turn your life around is very simple. Stay in school and get an education. Through knowledge, you can get out of that thug culture.
Yeah, and nobody is forcing you into that thug culture but yourself. That's the other thing. I mean, you can walk away from that in the blink of an eye, and I'll tell you what, all you see now in like social media videos and stuff, these little thugs just being little thugs. You know what? Justice is for the civilized. Your comeuppance is what you get for being a thug.
Yes. Yes, and don't go crying when you get that comeuppance, because you're due it.
Folks, when we get back from a break, we are going to talk about the House Oversight Committee report on the DHI, the Department of Homeland Insecurity. And it is not a happy report. I'm telling you that right now. This report, I mean, we've looked through it a little bit. Oh boy. We're in trouble as a nation, folks. And then we've got Diane's article about the police situation. I've got a couple of articles out in a 3-part series. We're going to be talking about those. And at the end of the show, Diane, our special tribute to police officers everywhere. Folks, don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are. Diane and I will be back after this.
The most most amazing thing about the Ford Fusion isn't the way it looks. The most amazing thing is the way it sees. With blind spot technology, a lane keeping system, and a standard rear view camera, the Fusion is ready for whatever comes your way. Go prepared. Go further.
I believe that every single one of us has what it takes
to win back-to-back gold.
Ski faster than any other human.
I believe it's possible to overcome fear.
I believe
it's possible to destroy stereotypes.
To start over, to be the toughest,
the strongest,
the bravest in the world. And when we work together, we can make it all possible. That's why Citi has donated $500,000 through its Every Step of the Way program, an initiative created to help future athletes reach their full potential through sport programs that inspire us. Like figure skating in Harlem.
Like Youth Enrichment Services. Like Team for Tomorrow.
The Team USA Stay on the Slopes initiative. Now spread the word and help decide how much of that money goes toward
offering personal support and financial assistance to Olympians in need.
Promoting the growth of hockey in the U.S.
Expanding the sport of luge into new regions.
Support for wounded service members. Join Team Citi and let's turn a world of potential into reality.
Go to citi.com/everystep and help decide where the money goes.
We at the CPR Worldwide Media Network, your constitutional patriot radio station, would like to take a moment to reach out to a portion of our listening audience. To the NSA, the mainstream media, to liberals masquerading as conservatives who would like to see us off the air, and to those who are spinning their wheels trying to take us down, we have a special message just for you. At the CPR Worldwide Media Network, we're happy to be your 24/7, 365 obsession because, while you have your little panties in a wad, we're speaking truth to power, telling real conservatives what you don't want them to hear, the truth, and we're not gonna stop. Now then, back under your collective bridges with the rest of your fellow trolls, and oh yes, thanks for listening to CPR.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
You're listening to the second hour of Right Side Patriots on Saturday on CPR Worldwide Media.
We, the people.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot, Diane Sorey from the Patriot Factor. And folks, if you missed any of our show on Wednesday, which would have been, New Year's Eve, yes. By the way, we're going to replay that entire show coming up about an hour, just a little under an hour from right now. This show, if you missed any of the first half of it, we will rebroadcast later tonight. Check the CPRWorldwideMedia.com listing, and you'll find out when, because we're not exactly sure when. How about that? Diane, we got to get into this thing about the DHS, Department of Homeland Security. Apparently, the House Oversight Committee, and I think it's Tom Cochran. Coburn has been looking into this for some time, and they have finally put out a report. This, folks, is nothing new. This has been going on now for 10 or 11 years. But it's the first time, as we understand it, that the House Oversight Committee has really put together a full report. And it is ugly.
Very, very ugly.
Apparently, our nation is no more secure for having a Homeland Security Department than it would be if we let the fox guard the hen house.
Yeah, it's so serious that Coburn said that Congress needs to review the department's mission and programs and refocus DHS on national priorities where DHS has a lead responsibility. And this is something they're not doing.
Well, and when you look down the list of stuff, Diane, I mean, some of this is just absolutely stunning. The amount of money that has been spent on different things that apparently, I really don't know how else to put it, it's been wasted.
Yeah, Craig, why don't we run down some of this list? I mean, I can start with the first one. Homeland Security spent $50 billion over the past 11 years on counterterrorism programs, but the department cannot demonstrate if the nation is more secure as a result. In other words, $50 billion just went down the drain.
Yeah, you think about that, folks. $50 billion, and they can't justify even $1 of it.
Correct. That's very serious.
I mean, that's pretty stunning. Now, this will come as no surprise, but when you hear the numbers out loud, it makes you sit down and go, holy crap. Coburn found out that 700 miles of our nation's southern border is unsecure, and that DHS is not effectively administering or enforcing the nation's immigration laws. We all knew that. Okay.
Right.
We've been preaching that for years, but here's the number that'll get you. Only 3 out of every 100 criminal aliens, the illegal aliens, will ever face deportation because of DHS.
Yeah, that's astounding. Now, people, you also need to know, Craig and I always call them criminal illegals. People need to understand these are not undocumented workers like Obama calls them. They are not immigrants. The very act of how they came here, knowingly breaking our laws, crossing our borders illegally, makes them criminals. And our Constitution itself says we do not have to take in criminals. But Obama welcomes them with open arms, and only 3 out of 100 will get deported.
Isn't that something? The report also found out that DHS has spent more than, get this, $700 million every year to lead the federal government's efforts on cybersecurity, but struggles to protect itself from cyber attacks. Federal and civilian networks are the most serious cyber attacks. The DHS cannot even protect their own computer system, and yet they have spent $700 million a year to lead the government's efforts to protect all of government entities from cyber attack.
You know what? Cyber attacks, unless it affects your national defense, takes out your missile systems or whatever, come on. It's hackers. The government has hackers that can override the hackers going into the computers.
You know, a cyber attack could take down the grid. Could take down the power grid in this country.
Yeah, I don't think that very many countries have the capabilities to do that.
No, you're right.
I
but it
believe
only takes
really only Israel might have the capability of doing that, and Israel would not do that to the American public.
China could do it. And
I'm not totally convinced on that, Craig.
But this is not a debate over that. What this is the Department of Homeland Security spending $700 million a year to protect us, and they can't even protect their own computers.
Correct. They need a better quality IT people. They need better IT people. You know, it's that simple. But here's another one. I mean, this is if it wasn't so sad, it would be funny. HHS has spent $170 billion for natural disasters since 2002 because of an increased federal role in which the costs of small storms are declared major disasters. So that basically means, if some raindrops fall in the desert, that's a natural disaster, and let's shove some millions of dollars over there instead of where it's really needed, like when the tornadoes hit in the tornado belt.
Well, and can we tie something into that we talked about earlier in the show? And that was Obama's regulation-happy, business here with the EPA. When you have these little storms, what's happening is the federal government is moving in on state and local governments and say, well, this has to be done via EPA regulations. Whatever cleanup, whatever needs to be done, the EPA has to get involved, and that jacks up the cost of it. So you get a little snow flurry and maybe a couple of power lines come down. It used to be the municipality would go in and fix that. Now it's the federal government has to come in and make sure everything's done via EPA regulations, and all of a sudden they're spending more money than they know what to do with. And it's the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, gets involved in this stuff where they really have no business being.
True. Yeah. It's to the point. It's really to the point of ludicrous what's going on here. Here it is. Homeland Security is failing on many points. We have ISIS already here, and don't tell me they're not. We've had beheadings in Oklahoma. We've had other incidents throughout the country. They can't even protect us here. They can't protect us here. That's what the bottom line is. We are no safer. All their what do they call the TSA gropers and grabbers at the airports? In all the years that they've been operating, they haven't caught one terrorist. Not one.
No, but they did catch a grumpy nun.
Yeah, right? Oh, God.
Here's the thing. This is the Department of Homeland Security, okay? And it was just about a week ago. Obama, it's right before he went on his little vacation to the $500,000 membership club, that Obama told Congress that you don't do what I want, and I might just shut down DHS. Well, I'm looking at this report going, go ahead, shut it down.
Sure.
We could use the money for other things. Shut the
whole damn administration down. Shut everything that's connected to him down. And on January 6th, let us rebuild it.
I agree. Look, if Congress had a set, they would have forced another government shutdown. And based on this report, I would say the first thing you got to shut down is DHS. Because if they're supposed to be keeping us safe and they're not doing their job, what good are they? All they're doing, it seems to me here, by going through this report, is spending taxpayer dollars on nothing.
Right. They're wasting our money again. They're wasting our taxpayer dime again.
It's just an amazing situation when you have an agency devoted to the security of this nation, and they're not providing any security for this nation. Let's go back to the illegal immigrant thing.
Okay.
Only 3 out of 100 will ever be deported because of DHS. Only 3 out of 100. And 700 miles of the border that DHS is in charge of is insecure. How is this, preventing terrible things from happening in our country? This is the primary thing for DHS, and they're failing at it.
Well, you know what? All the government agencies under this administration are pretty much failing. It's it seems to be across the board. It seems to be across the board. Everything is failing. Look at the IRS. Look what a wonderful job they have done under Obama.
Dare I drag Obamacare into this? Folks,
that's the head failure of them all.
The same
Everything
entity.
this administration touches turns to a lump of coal in our stockings.
The same entity that is in charge of DHS, that would be the federal government, for those folks out there keeping score, the same entity that's in charge of DHS, which is failing and spending money like crazy in the process, is also in charge of your health care insurance. How secure do you feel?
Not very. In fact, Obamacare basically sucks, and more we hear of stories that affect all of us, personal stories. I mean, as everybody knows, my friend Dory, who died of brain cancer, was affected by Obamacare because they wouldn't let her get into an experimental treatment that could have extended her life. Some other people close to me right now are also going through bullshit with Obamacare, and they have private insurance, yet the hospital they're in is under Obamacare. So there's like a back and forth there, which there shouldn't be when you have private insurance. But because Obama has his tentacles into everything with his horrible Obamacare, it affects people that you don't ever think it would affect. So that's the head failure of them all.
And the same can be said for the Department of Homeland Security. They have been inserted in so many different areas, along the border, for border security, which they're not providing, at airports for airport security, which they're not providing. They've been inserted into policing against cyber attacks, which they're not doing. And every place you see DHS has been inserted, whatever it is they're supposed to do in that insertion, they're not doing it. But they're spending bazillions of dollars in the process of not doing their job.
And it's our money that they're spending. That's what gets me really furious. It's our money they're spending to not do their jobs.
Now let me tell you something.
Maybe we need a national "we're not paying taxes" day. Okay, then they won't have our money to spend.
What was the figure? Do we have a figure there on what they're spending along the border?
Yes, I believe so. No, actually, it didn't list a figure. Boy, that must be huge.
Yeah, let me tell you, whatever that figure is, whatever amount of money that DHS has been given to maintain border security, take it away from DHS and give that money to those individual state militias. Give it to the Texas militia. Give a little bit of it to the New Mexico militia because they have a little tiny chunk of border there. Give some of it to the Arizona state militia. Let them patrol the border. I guarantee you they'll make better use of the money than DHS. I guarantee it.
Okay, first of all, you don't need to spend money to give to the militias, in my opinion. That money should go to build an electrified 12-foot fence that anybody tries to climb over it illegally, they get fried.
12 foot? I'd go 30 feet.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I do have some figures now. Apparently, they want $4.5 billion within the next 5 years to tighten control of the U.S. borders. That's the Senate's plan. The Republican Senate's plan. The U.S. has already spent nearly $18 billion on immigration enforcement last year.
That's crazy.
And look what it's gotten us.
Nothing.
We've got illegal children bringing in horrendous diseases to this country.
Folks, this is a problem. And we're kind of making fun of some of it, but I'm telling you, this is a huge problem because the security of our nation depends on secure borders and being as secure as possible against cyber threats. All the things that we listed here, if DHS is going to spend $1 bazillion on little piddly storms that really didn't do much, what are we going to do when a major storm like Sandy hits? Like, I mean, where are we going to get the money when we actually need it if they're going to waste it on crap that we don't need them doing? It's just, this whole situation is out of control. We talked about Obamacare. Let me fill people in on something else we just found out about Obamacare a couple of days ago. Remember Gruber? John Gruber, the architect that said, Obamacare would have passed were it not for the stupidity of the American voters. And of course, when he says that, he's talking about the stupidity of liberals in Congress, because they're the only ones that voted for it. We found out, we got a little new information on Gruber the other day. Back in 2009, he literally told Obama that Obamacare is not going to work because there are no cost controls built into it. And to this day, there are no cost controls built into it. To this day, there's no cost controls built into it. So he said back in 2009, he said and he literally used the word unaffordable. He said this is going to be unaffordable and it's not going to work.
The thing with Gruber, which I don't understand, he's in some serious trouble now himself. Mm-hmm. If Gruber had any working brain cells, and as an MIT professor, I would assume he has 1 or 2 working brain cells, he should turn state's evidence and hang Obama's ass out to dry. He needs to make restitution to the American people, and in my opinion, that would be the best way to do it. Hang him out to dry. Hang Obamacare out to dry. Why should we have to drag this through the Supreme Court when this man actually has the key to it all?
If Gruber gets in any more trouble, Diane, he might get an NAA Colored People Award. I mean,
yeah,
he's in that deep now. But I mean, imagine that, folks. Back in 2009, he literally told them this won't work because there are no cost controls built into Obamacare, and it's going to be unaffordable.
Correct. It's already unaffordable. People don't realize when they signed up, they thought they were going to get affordable rates. But as the year has now turned, come February, when the new sign-up ends, your rates are going to increase 2, 3, 4, 5 times what you're paying now. And the thing is, and I have warned people since day one, never log on to the sites. If you log on, they get your IP address. Yep. They've got you. Do not go near that site. Here it is. Craig and I are on the radio. We're in the business, if you want to call it, of trying to take our country back. And he and I have never once logged on to the site.
Nope.
Because we know the inherent dangers in doing that.
Here's another happy bit of news about Obamacare, folks. If you're not buying it, the fines are going up. They've gone up. Starting a couple of days ago, beginning of 2015, the fine is no longer $95 for not signing up. It is now, I want to say it's somewhere around $350 or 2% of your annual income, whichever is higher. And it's the IRS, the corrupt company, the IRS, that is going to come collecting it.
True.
I mean, this is the situation we find ourselves in as a country. Okay?
Yes.
You're mandated to buy insurance that they knew before they mandated it that it was unworkable, it was unaffordable, it had no cost benefit whatsoever, and they also knew going in that even with Obamacare in place, there would still be something like 30 million Americans that didn't have any insurance, and that's what it was supposed to cure, after all. and here we are, a couple of years down the road now, and guess what? It's unaffordable. The cost is going up. The prescriptions are skyrocketing. The deductibles are skyrocketing. The premiums are skyrocketing. You get nothing out of it because you got a 15-member death panel that tells you whether or not they're going to treat you, and they're not, because this is what saves them money. You got people dropping out of Obamacare left and right. The numbers we've been lied to all the way through. The numbers were never what the Obama regime said they were. They never broke 7 million people signing up. There's still about a third of the people who think they signed up for it who don't really know if they have or not, because nobody has ever contacted them and said, yeah, you made this successful and you signed up for it, and here's your bill, because they've never paid an Obamacare premium because the government doesn't know if they've signed up or not. And this is the government's way of running health insurance, because this is better than the old private insurance companies. That's what they're telling us.
Yes. There was nothing wrong with our healthcare system as it was. Maybe the premiums had gotten out of line. Premiums could have been adjusted. We did not need a overhaul of America's healthcare system. No. We had the finest healthcare system in the world, and this man has now raped it, pillaged it, and made it a laughing stock, and a serious laughing stock, because now you have the death panels. And don't say they're not real, folks, because they are. I experienced them with my friend who was denied treatment because she had brain cancer, and that survival rate is, not good. So we're not wasting our money on that. Those death panels exist, guys. You're going to find them happening within your own families. Older people with heart attacks, severe diabetics. People are going to be denied treatments left and right. Children with cystic fibrosis, children born with cerebral palsy. The government is going to decide who's worthy of treatment, surgery, medical care, and who's not. This is Obamacare. All we needed was a premium adjustment.
Well, and it's the same exact entity that's running our Homeland Security Department, the federal government. And I'm telling you, private enterprise will do a better job every time. I don't care what it is. If private enterprise had been in charge of going to the moon, they'd have gotten there, and we'd still be going to the moon today. Yes. But as it was NASA. They got us there, barely. They got us there with the lowest possible, by accepting the lowest possible bid on all the equipment. But we haven't been back since 1972.
Correct.
Okay, and right now we can't even put a man in space. We got to rely on the Russians for that. Why? Because the federal government is in charge of it. You look at the post office. Post office is losing billions of dollars a year. Losing billions of dollars a year. And the rest of us are bailing them out every year. It's a government entity. Amtrak has been off the rails for a long time. It's the American taxpayer and taxpayer subsidies that keeps them in business. A private enterprise will do it better every time. The only thing I want my federal government doing is building the best damn Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard available.
Yes.
Let them provide for our common defense. Leave the rest of it to private enterprise.
I'm sorry, Craig, but you're popping in and out. That's why I think you're done speaking when you're not. I don't mean to be rude, guys. Except for the things Craig spoke about, 99% of all other things belong on the state's level.
Yeah.
Belong on the state's level. Okay. Craig named the things that the federal government should be in control of. Everything else needs to be left, as per Article 5, on the state's level. This is the problem here. The Obama administration is growing big government, growing it into giant, humongous government. And the states aren't fighting back strong enough because we have some on our side who are actually sabotaging what the states are trying to do.
I mean, basically it comes down to this. Federal government is wallowing about in their own poo, and the rest of us are all downwind.
Yes.
I mean, and it stinks, folks. It just plain stinks. Coburn did a great job putting this report together, and if you have a chance to go look at it, I suggest you do, but be sitting down and have an Obama bag in case you need to barf, because, oh boy,
It's not a happy-looking report. We're going to have to take another quick break, Diane. When we come back, Diane's got a great article out right now at thepatriotfactor.blogspot.com dealing with the police situation. I've got 2 of 3 that I have published. It's a 3-part series, parts 1 and 2. Odd that I would do them in that order. I have already published part 3 will be coming tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that. And at the end of the show today, our very special tribute to police officers everywhere, backed by request. So, folks, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Diane and I will be back after this.
Citigold is an account from a global bank with over 200 years' experience, offering international banking expertise across over 100 markets. Your dedicated investment consultant adds a unique personal touch to your banking experience. Complimentary lifestyle offers like Marhaba service and free global money transfers help you save on time and money. At the core of Citigold is your dedicated relationship manager, personally looking after your financial needs. Be it lifestyle privileges like golf, lounge access across the Middle East, or worldwide privileges, Citigold provides you with a rewarding experience. One card is all you need for all your Citibank accounts. As a Citigold client, you benefit from our international expertise and global reach. Citigold is more than an account. It's a personal banking service offering exceptional privileges, customer service and recognition worldwide. So wherever you are, Citigold will be with you.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. And your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
The network wants to treat me right. Y'all can take the change and stick it out of sight. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. Well, it used to be easy, get a place, build a house. Now the EPA said no, that's the home of the blue mouse. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. We're gonna use some common sense and we're gonna take back our country. Well, they've beaten to death that pole race horse. This politically correct thing has run its course. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Bing. Lots of divorces from showing them bangs. Why don't you mind your own business? That's good advice. today we could build Boulder Dam, there'd be way too many government permit scams. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for the good news? We're gonna take back this country. Hey, Barack, pack your bags, head to Chicago. Take your teleprompter with you so you'll know where to go. So move it on over, move it on over, move it on over, move it on over, move over, little dog, 'cause the big dog's moving in. Hey, 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 move it on over, move it on over, slide it on over, move it on over. Hey, are you ready for some good news? Are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot with Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. And Diane, you've got a great article. PatriotFactor.blogspot.com is where you will find it about the police situation. The funeral for, I guess, what were they? They were actually promoted, wasn't it? It was Officer Lou,
Yes,
but he's now a
they've
detective.
now become Detective First Grade.
Yeah, Detective First Grade Lou will be held tomorrow in New York City. But Diane, let's get into this article that you've got out on this right now.
Yes, because it actually ties in to your articles that are coming next. And what this basically is, we had another police killing. However, this time the perpetrator was white and he was shot by the cops, rightfully again. His name was Pacini, and he tried to kill police officers with his car. So he was shot dead. Now, he was a known agitator who had posted many vile videos on YouTube calling again for the death of police officers. He was one of the white thug mentality, shall we say. And but of course, when this happens, nary a word do you hear from our favorite trio of Obama, Sharpton, and Holder that a white man was killed by the police. It's only, when black folk are killed by the police. And basically, what my article talks about is these statistics that more crimes are committed by black perpetrators. And yes, some are killed than they are by whites, but the numbers have gone down. This racial hatred that the trio is perpetrating on the public, that the police hate the blacks, is simply not true. It's just simply not true. Yes, most of the killings might be of blacks, but the number per se, as opposed to the overall population numbers, is going down. And it's going down, yet at the same time, there is a rise in the number of officers being killed. That's the difference.
Yeah, and that is actually spiking now.
Yes, we have a 24% increase in the number of officers being killed from 2013 alone. We have had 102 on-duty deaths of officers, and that includes that's 102 local officers. We've also had 126, if you put in all the totals combined, federal, local, tribal, and territorial officers. But the main thing is the rise of 24% to 102 on-duty local deaths, and most of them were killed by black perpetrators. While the black crime rate the black crime rate of police killing blacks is going down, the amount of blacks killing police is actually going up.
And you're saying that's a problem.
And I'm saying that's a problem.
And I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, because you have Al Sharpton screaming, "What do we want? We want dead cops, no justice, no peace." We have Obama telling the Ferguson rioters to stay the course. We have de Blasio telling his son, "Watch out for the police because they don't like you because of the color of your skin." We have all of this hate going on by these so-called black leaders, while the blacks are the ones actually killing more police officers than police officers killing blacks.
Well, I did an article today and a couple of, what was it, a week ago? Maybe 2 weeks ago now? I lose track. The number, I think it was for 2013, which was the last year we had full figures on before I wrote the article. The number of white people killed by police officers was something like 326, and the number of black people in that same year was 123.
Yes, and I have a chart similar to that, but actually the newer chart. I was able to get on the newer chart. And the difference is astounding. 126 whites as opposed to 49 blacks. And they're complaining that the police hate them? No, the prejudice of the police is in their own minds. They're making this stuff up because they are being fed it by their supposed black leaders.
And don't leave Holder out of the mix, because it was Eric Holder who just recently took the death penalty off the table for 4 black gang members who killed a cop.
He took it off the table for the black young man that shot the baby point blank in the face.
Yep.
He took it off the table for the black gang that raped and killed the white couple, the Marine. I believe he was a Marine, and his pregnant wife. All those death sentences have been taken off the table because they're poor black misunderstood youth. Give me a break.
I think they understand exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
And as long as they're allowed to get away with it, by the ilk of Holder, Obama, Sharpton, Jackson, they're going to continue to do it, and they're going to raise the stakes.
Yes, and that directly leads into Craig's articles, his 2 out of 3, his third is coming tomorrow, on the nationalpatriot.com, where he takes this even a step further.
Well, here's what I did, folks. Let's focus on the Antonio Martin thing, and this was in Berkeley, Missouri, just a little over a week ago now. And this was a kid that got killed by a cop 2 miles from where Mike Brown had been killed by Officer Darren Wilson. And what we know about this Antonio Martin situation is that Martin and a buddy of his walked into this mobile gas station and robbed the place. And then they came out of the gas station. Now, what we have is clear evidence via video surveillance that Antonio Martin and his buddy, his thug buddy, they come out of the gas station, and instead of taking off running, because they just robbed the place, they loiter in the parking lot. There's a woman and looks like maybe 2 women, and one with a baby stroller cutting across the parking lot. They go over to talk to them. That's when they see a police cruiser pull into the driveway. Now, you would think, because these 2 guys just robbed the store, that they would take off running, but they didn't. What they did is they sauntered up right to that police cruiser. Not a care in the world. So I watched that video over and over and over and over, and I kept thinking, why didn't these 2 guys just take off running? Eventually, it's about a 1 minute and 49-second piece of video. I've got it in the article, embedded in the article, so you can watch it. Eventually, Antonio Martin pulls a gun out of his pants pocket and points it right at the cop. And that's where that video stops. But the cop shot him, killed him, and that was the end of that story. But I thought, there's got to be more to it than this, because thug mentality says when you rob a store, you run like hell. And neither one of these guys ran like hell. Then I found the other video, taken from a different angle, security camera, and you can see what happens just as Antonio Martin raises the gun to shoot at the cop, his buddy takes off like he was shot out of a cannon. I theorized in my first article that this was a setup. These two guys robbed the store. It's my theory. They robbed the store with the idea that the gas station attendant would then call the police, and the police would come and they would have a chance to shoot a cop 2 miles from where Mike Brown got shot. The cop gets there. The cop gets there because he's just driving by and he sees something going on in the parking lot. He sees people just milling around. So he pulls in. He doesn't even have the call that the place has gotten robbed yet. These two guys come up to the car and they start engaging him in conversation. One of them backs away. The cop's got a flashlight. You can see the beam of the flashlight in the video. The one guy, Antonio Martin, backs away and then comes back in and then raises the gun and gets himself shot. This was a setup, folks. I almost guarantee you this was a setup. And if you read throughout the first article, that's what you're going to find is my reasoning on that. Now, like I said, I started this just to be a single article, Diane, and then it became 3 because there was way too much other information.
And some good supposition that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and this is what you do. When you have to connect the dots, you have to use what's there. Now, the second part of the 3-part article is up today. TheNationalPatriot.com is where you can find it. And what I'm saying is we've got a war on police officers right now, and it's being waged by a bunch of nothing-to-lose street thugs who are being supported by thug generals Obama, Holder, and Sharpton.
Of course.
Okay. Now, you got to think about this. Sharpton is Obama's personal race baiter. He's leading the parades, whipping up hatred, spreading the regime's propaganda lies. Hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. And, of course, the standard no justice, no peace that's left over from the Trayvon Martin situation. You got Eric Holder, supposedly the nation's top law enforcement official, taking the death penalty off the table for cop-killing pieces of human garbage. And that sends a message to the other thugs. Mm-hmm. We can commit the ultimate crime without having to face the ultimate penalty.
Correct.
Okay? And Obama, stay the course, just like Diane said. Stay the course. It was November 5th that he told that to the Ferguson rioters in waiting while they were in the White House with Sharpton in attendance. You can throw de Blasio into the mix. We've talked about him already today.
Sharpton, in fact, has had 5 private one-on-ones with Obama and 27 meetings with the administration.
Yeah, it's insipid when you get right down to it. Throughout the second article, I'm giving you people background information on other things that are going on. Okay? The Antonio Martin situation, even though it's fully captured on video surveillance, both of those videos, by the way, the one that everybody's seen and the one hardly anybody has seen, are both in that article, that first part of the article, the series. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you need to go watch those, and you'll see what really happened. But there's some idiot named King Yashua. He's a co-founder of something called the Nation of Liberation. And he opened up and he said about Antonio Martin, he said, this brother was assassinated. It's just like Ferguson. No, it's not.
It's not.
He was not assassinated. You can see it clearly in the video what happened. But that's the mob mentality. Minutes after Antonio Martin was shot by the cop, a crowd of people were around him, hurling insults and other things at the officers. The same type of thing took place in Texas City, Texas. A guy with a gun was shooting it at people in the parking lot of a nightclub. The owner of the club called the police. The police get there. The guy immediately points the gun at the cops. He gets shot and killed. And immediately the crowd descends on the cops, blaming them for what took place. All right? Mm-hmm. In Flagstaff, Arizona, guy calls the cops. He says, I need to talk to you about an earlier incident involving domestic violence. Please come and see me at such and such an address. The cop, a rookie, gets to that address. What does the guy do? pulls out a gun, shoots the cop in the face, kills him.
Yeah.
Okay. These are setup, folks. Just like Antonio Martin was a setup. We're starting to see this over and over and over again. But before I get finished with this today, I want to let you in on a little something you probably didn't know. Now, in remember the whole thing with Garner, with Eric Garner. Okay.
Sure.
And then you had the assassination of Ramos and Lou as a result of that whole Eric Garner situation, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you see people carrying these signs in the Al Sharpton parades. The hands up, don't shoot, no justice, no peace. I can't breathe. The pre-made ones, the professionally printed signs. You see those in there. Well, on the bottom of those signs is a website. It's called revcom.us. Revcom.us. Okay? You do a little looking into who's Revcom. And this is very interesting. It's the Revolutionary Communist Party. That's who Revcom is. The Revolutionary Communist Party. Now, what do they have to do with these signs and with these protests and all this? You better grab onto something, folks. This guy that killed Ramos and Lou, this Brinsley, this Muslim Brinsley guy, he was part of a group called the Black Guerrilla Family. Okay, that's a gang in New York, the nice. Black Guerrilla Family. So the Black Guerrilla Family and Revcom are linked. All right? Here's how. Through the Weather Underground.
Oh, dear. What a connection.
Now, in case any of our listeners have forgotten the Weather Underground, you got to go back to the 1970s. This was a domestic terrorist group headed up by Bill Ayers, Obama's pal. The exact same Bill Ayers whose Weather Underground bombed the New York City Police Department headquarters in 1970.
Obama's mentor and good buddy.
The guy who Obama started his political career in Bill Ayers' front room.
Yes.
Okay. It's the exact same Bill Ayers who, when asked a few months ago if he would ever return to active roles in domestic terrorism, stated, and I quote, "I can't completely say no, I would never rise up in opposition in a very militant and serious way because I am not committed to nonviolence as an ideology." They are supporting these punks and thugs who are out there who want to kill the cops.
They're supporting them, they're financing them, they're doing everything to kill cops.
And I'm telling you, folks, it's a 3-part series of articles. Part 1 I published yesterday at thenationalpatriot.com. Part 2 today. It's out there right now. Part 3 will be coming tomorrow. And when you start putting this all together, you can see exactly what's transpiring out there, and it's not pretty. It is not pretty at all. The people who are supposed to protect and serve us are now the targets.
Yes.
The people who are supposed to maintain law and order are the targets of thugs and murderers.
Yes.
And it's not going to let up. You will be amazed when you read tomorrow's article, Diane.
Oh, I'm sure I will, and I'm sure I'll get a heads up on it.
Well, look, folks, that's all the time we have today. Now, we were asked to replay our special tribute to police officers, and we're happy to do it because we stand with our cops.
Yes, we do.
Folks, if you missed it on Wednesday, we did this at the very end of the show on Wednesday. We're going to do it again right now. You will recognize the voice, one of my heroes from broadcasting, a voice that a lot of people recognize, even if you weren't around long enough to really caught him live when he did his live radio shows. But folks, this is Paul Harvey. I took the liberty of adding a little music underneath it. I hope you enjoy it. This is for all the police officers out there. Folks, have a great weekend. Diane and I will be back on Wednesday. Say goodbye, Diane.
Bye, guys.
Man is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. called statistics, wave the fan over stinkers, underscore instances of dishonesty and brutality because they are news. What that really means is that they are exceptional, they are unusual, they are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted. A strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won, but if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer, but if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp or expect to be sued. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. A policeman must know everything and not tell. He must know where all of the sin is and not partake. The policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding, but if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. If he gets promoted, he has political pull. If he doesn't, he's a dullard. The policeman must chase bum leads to a dead end, stake out 10 nights to tag one witness who saw it happen but refuses to remember. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus or an honorable who isn't honorable. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And of course he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.